Hi everyone, today we are going to deal with biological classification, that is chapter 2 of unit 1, diversity in the living world. First let us have a look into the scientists, those who have scientifically classified living organisms in those days. First comes Aristotle. He classified plants into trees, shrubs and herbs. Then he also classified animals into two groups, that is those who have red blood cells and those do not have red blood. Next one is Linnaeus. We have seen in the earlier class that Linnaeus classified living organisms into two kingdoms, kingdom Plantae and kingdom Animalia. We also have seen as this kingdom has some this classification has some defects. R.H. Whitaker came with the five kingdom classification. First let us know what are the drawbacks in the two kingdom classification. Two kingdom classification did not distinguish between prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells, unicellular and multicellular organisms, and difference between photosynthetic plants and non-photosynthetic plants like fungi. First, let us know what are prokaryotes and what are eukaryotes. Prokaryotes are the cells that do not have well developed nucleus and also they do not have membrane bound organelles. But eukaryotic cells are well developed cells and they have membrane bound organelles and completely developed nucleus. This is the main difference between prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. Now, so students, it is go into five kingdom classification. What are the five kingdoms given by R.H. Whitaker? They are Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia. R.H. Whitaker grouped all the prokaryotic cells under Monera, prokaryotic unicellular cells under Monera. Under Protista, he included all unicellular eukaryotes. Note the difference. Under Monera, all unicellular prokaryotes. Under Protista, all unicellular eukaryotes. And in Protista, he also brought together Chlamydomonas and Chlorella, which were earlier kept under plant kingdom, and amoeba and paramecium, which were earlier kept under animal kingdom, under the new category Protista. That is, he brought few plants and few animals under the kingdom Protista. That is, now the criterion for classification has changed. Okay, let us have a look into the categories what he considered for classification. The main criteria he considered for classification were cell structure, that is whether the cell is unicellular or multicellular, prokaryote or eukaryote, and about nucleus. Then thallus organization, that is body organization, then mode of nutrition of the organism, its reproduction and phylogenetic relationships. Coming to first kingdom Monera, all the bacteria are placed under the kingdom Monera. Bacteria are classified according to their shapes into following categories. Spherical shaped bacteria are called coccus, rod shaped bacteria bacilli, comma shaped vibrium, and spiral shaped spirillum. The mode of nutrition of bacteria is autotrophic and heterotrophic. Let us have a look into some bacteria types. Archaebacteria. Archaebacteria are those bacteria that live under harsh habitats. Example, extremely salt conditions, they are called halophiles, and those live in hot springs are thermoacidophiles, and those that live in marshy soil are methanogens. Methanogens also live in the gut of ruminants such as cows and buffaloes. So, these methanogens produce methane gas from cow dung. These archaebacteria have different cell wall structure so that they can withstand these adverse conditions. Then eubacteria, cyanobacteria is the example. Cyanobacteria is also called blue-green algae. These eubacteria have rigid cell wall. Some of the examples of cyanobacteria are Anabaena and Nostoc. These Anabaena and Nostoc fix nitrogen from the atmosphere. Some other examples of eubacteria are chemosynthetic autotrophs. Example, they recycle nitrogen, phosphorus, iron and sulfur. Then heterotrophic bacteria, these are important decomposers. Even some antibiotics are derived from these heterotrophic bacteria. Some of the eubacteria are pathogens. They cause diseases like cholera, typhoid in human beings and citrus canker in plants. The mode of reproduction seen in bacteria is fission under normal conditions, and under adverse conditions they produce spores. A primitive type of sexual reproduction is also seen in bacteria, that is, there occurs a primitive type of DNA transfer from one bacteria to another bacteria. Then mycoplasma. These mycoplasma are the bacteria that do not have cell wall. They can live even without oxygen and mostly they are pathogenic. Next comes the second kingdom, Protista. Single-celled eukaryotes are placed under Protista and most of the Protista are aquatic. There are some categories under Protista. First one is chrysophytes. They live in fresh and marine environments. Example, diatoms and golden algae. Diatoms are the chief producers in oceans. Next, dinoflagellates. They are mostly marine organisms. They have different colors. Example, yellow, green, brown, blue, red. This color is due to the pigment present in them. Often we will be hearing about a red tide. During red tide, these red dinoflagellates reproduce and grow in large number, and they release toxins in the ocean, and the ocean water looks red color. Even this kills many marine organisms including big fishes and whales. Next comes euglenoids. Euglenoids mostly live in fresh stagnant water. We all know euglena is both plant as well as animal. How comes this possible? Under favorable conditions, that is when there is availability of sunlight, euglena behave as autotrophic organism, and when there is no sunlight, in the absence of sunlight, they behave as heterotrophs. Next category is slime molds. They are saprophytic protist. Body moves along the decaying twigs and leaves engulfing organic material. Next category is protozoans. We all know protozoans are parasites or predators. The common protozoans we all know is malarial plasmodium. There are different types of protozoans. Amoeboid protozoan, example Entamoeba species. Flagellated protozoan, example Trypanosoma. Ciliated protozoan, example Paramecium. And sporozoans, Plasmodium. We all know the spores produced by Plasmodium causes malaria in human beings. Third kingdom is fungi. We all know fungi are saprophytes, that is they feed on dead and decaying organic matter. Fungi are mostly saprophytes. Some fungi are parasites and some are symbionts. Fungi exhibit asexual and sometimes sexual reproduction. As like in Protista, even fungi have many categories. First one is Phycomycetes, example Rhizopus. Next, Ascomycetes, example Yeast Penicillium. Basidiomycetes, example mushroom varieties, example Agaricus. And Eutromycetes, example Trichoderma. And Eutromycetes are often called as imperfect fungi. These categories are based on the mode of reproduction and thallus organization and spore formation. Next, fourth kingdom is kingdom Plantae. We all know Plantae plants are autotrophs and they are eukaryotes because prokaryotes are placed under Monera and Protista. Almost all the plants are autotrophs except a few exceptions. Example, Cuscuta is a parasitic plant and some insectivorous plants are seen. Example, Venus flytrap and Nepenthes. Next kingdom, last kingdom is kingdom Animalia. Kingdom Animalia include all heterotrophic eukaryotes. Their mode of nutrition is holozoic and sexual reproduction occurs by copulation of male and female. We will be dealing with plant kingdom and animal kingdom detailedly in the later classes. Now, let us look into few organisms that are not grouped under these 5 categories. Is there any organism left over? Think for a while. Yes, we have left virus. At some point of time, we all would have been infected by a virus. Even common cold, flu is a viral attack. Okay, what is virus? The name virus was coined by Pasteur Ivanovsky in 1892. He found there is a something that is contagious, and he strained it through bacteria filter, and he found that it is smaller than bacteria. Then in 1898, Weijers he named that infectious fluid as contagium vivium fluidum, that is infectious fluid. Stanley in 1935 for the first time crystallized virus. Virus are obligate parasites, that is, they can function only inside a living cell. They cannot function outside a living cell. So outside living cell, they are just a particle. Even COVID-19 is a virus, right? It is a just a particle outside the living cell. When it enters the living cell, it becomes more dangerous. Generally, virus is a protein, and we would say it is a nucleoprotein. Then the genetic material is either DNA or RNA, but never both. This genetic material is the infectious parts. Uh, the plant viruses are mostly single stranded RNA, and animal viruses are single stranded or double stranded or RNA, or sometimes double stranded DNA. The viruses that attack bacteria, example bacteriophage, the genetic material is double stranded DNA. Some of the examples of viral diseases are mumps, smallpox, AIDS, herpes, and influenza. Then next comes viroids. What are viroids? In 1971, Danaher found that potato spindle tuber disease, and when he observed the infectious part, he found that it lacked the protein coat. The protein coat is the essential part in virus. So in viroids, the protein coat is absent. So this group category is viroids. Then lichens. What are lichens? Lichens are the symbiotic association between algae and fungi. Do you know what is symbiotic relationship? Okay, let us know now. Symbiotic relationship is the mutual benefiting relationship. That is, I am also benefitor, you are also benefitor. So, in algae and fungi association, the lichens, the algae part is autotrophic and fungi part is heterotrophic. Algae provides food to the fungi, while fungi provides shelter and absorb water and minerals to the algae. And one interesting thing about lichens is these are the good pollution indicators. That is, in polluted areas, the lichen will not survive. So, if we find lichen, you would say that the area is not polluted and it is clean. Hope this video is useful to you. Please like the videos, share to your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.